अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. So welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class today, and I apologize, my network is not working, so there'll be some inconvenience during the call today. Like, for example, I won't be able to send you links to the verses today. You will have to just go to vedabase.io on your browsers and go to Srimad Bhagavatam and go to Canto number 1 and chapter number 7. So this is something that we all know, that we have been doing it. So vedabase.io, or even if you go to vedabase.com, if you're habitual of doing that, it doesn't matter. You can go to vedabase.com. It'll take you to vedabase.io. And from there, if you can select Bhagavatam, and then the first canto, and then the 7th chapter from there. And if you can let me know that you have reached there, then I can go deeper into the verse of today.
Shraddha Mataji, a couple of people are asking how to dial it because they were on Zoom. They are asking on the Bhakti Viksha.
Yeah, I can't. Well, you can copy, right? You would have got my message from today, or from today, like reminding about the Srimad Bhagavatam class.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you.
But okay, let me just copy it.
Yeah. Preeti, Radhika, you are on the call.
Yes, hi Krishna, yeah. I'm just doing that.
Yeah, Preeti, if you can do that, right?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, I'm sending it to them.
Yeah, she'll send it. She's also on on that, so she might be able to. So Preeti, by today's message is.
Radhika Mataji already sent it.
Okay, perfect. But Radhika is also on our Sanitary group? Okay, good. Good, thank you.
Radhika Mataji already sent it.
Okay, good. So if somebody is pinging you, Sonal Mataji, you can. You will get that from the San Mateo group, and then you could send them to the individuals. Yeah, technology, it fails you at the wrong moment. I mean, I've been having trouble since morning, so I was trying out options on how I can go about this, and this is the best that we can do. Well, you can tell them that I'm recording the call, and hopefully the recording won't bomb on me, as technology does. Okay, so yeah. So we are going to do Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, and verse for today is verse number 29. Are you able to go there to that verse?
Yes.
Yes, it's not working.
Very nice. So then we can get started. Suta uvacha Shrutva Bhagavata Proktam Falgunaha Paraviraha Sprishta Apastam Parikramya Brahmam Brahmastram Sandhade.
All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Synonyms: Sutaha, Suta Goswami, Uvacha, said, Shrutva, after hearing, Bhagavata, by the personality of Godhead, Proktam, what was said, Falgunaha, another name of Sri Arjuna, Paraviraha, the killer of the opposing warrior, Sprishtva, after touching, Apaha, water, Tam, him, Parikramya, circumambulating, Brahmam, the Supreme Lord, Brahmastram, the supreme weapon, Sandade, acted on. Okay, so again, there are some new words that have come up, and my question is particularly to Varshana Mataji, since she is working on a project for us. And if you can unmute yourself by pressing *6 and answer this question, that what is the name, another name of Sri Arjuna that is used here? You can press *6 or #6 on your phone to unmute yourself. Because I was having a lot of noise, so I had to go and mute everybody. Is there anyone who can unmute themselves by pressing *6 or #6? Just unmute and speak. And if not, then I'll have to unmute everybody.
I can unmute.
You're able to do that? Okay, so give me what is another name of Sri Arjuna? Anyone? I think Vashana.
Falgunaha.
Falgunaha, right? So that's a new name for Arjuna that we have come across here, right? Okay, and then what does it mean to touch? Which word is talking about touching something? Sprishtva, right? So Sprishtva, we use the word sparsha, right? Sparsh is to touch. So Sprishtva is like after touching. And he touches what? Water. So what is water called?
Water.
Right.
Apaha.
Apaha, right? So in Bhagavad Gita also there's a verse that says Bhumi Apo Analo Vayu. So Apa, there is water as well. Okay. All right, so let's go and see what Srila Prabhupada has to tell us. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, translation there. Sri Suta Goswami said, hearing this from the personality of Godhead, Arjuna touched water for purification, and after circumambulating Lord Sri Krishna, he cast his Brahmastra weapon to counteract the other one. Purport? There is no purport for this verse. So let's just go back and see what we have been doing, what we have been reading all along in this chapter, and we'll do a quick recap session. So if you can just, one at a time, just give me one reflection each. So don't give me the whole summary of the chapter, just one thing that comes to mind from all that we have been reading in this chapter. Chapter number 7 of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto.
So, Hare Krishna. So, Ashwatthama, he was being chased by Arjun and his horses got tired. So, in that fear, he released Brahmastra.
Okay, good. Anybody else would like to elaborate on what happened then after that?
So then Lord Krishna says that only another Brahmastra can
Counteract that, okay. And then?
Yeah.
And then what is Arjuna doing then now?
Arjun praised first Krishna that you are, with many verses, that you come on this planet only to protect your devotees and you let no harm come to them.
So he prays, right? He prays to Krishna. And he's asking that from where from is this effulgence coming, right? And then he says that Krishna says, well, this is the doing of the son of Dronacharya. He has done it. He has released this, and he doesn't know how to retract it. And now you know how to do it. So in this verse, what he's telling him, that in the previous verse he said, but you know how to do it, so why don't you counteract it? So now we see that Arjuna is getting ready. And look at the mood, as you mentioned that Arjuna had touched the water for purification. And then he's circumambulating Lord Krishna. So these are amazing gestures from somebody who is about to fight, who's about to release a Brahmastra, right? So these things are usually circumambulation, touching the water for purification. These are things that are done before a prayer, right? Before deity worship, is you usually see the pujaris doing things like that, right? But here Arjuna is doing it. Because for Arjuna, now remember, this is after the Mahabharata is over, after Arjuna has already realized that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So his mood towards Krishna has changed from just being a friend who would jest with him and joke with him to like, I'm dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he goes there. So when Krishna is telling him to go and release his own Brahmastra, he's doing it as a service to Krishna. And that is devotional service. Whatever you're doing, yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat jihoshi dadasi, yat tapasyasi konteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. So he's doing it as a service to the Lord. And so obviously he is touching the water because, he's about to begin. And then he circumambulates, which is another thing that we do, like circumambulate a temple or circumambulate a deity, so on and so forth. So we do that all the time. So he's also doing. So Krishna had told him in the 8th chapter, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. So therefore, at all times, you just remember me and then do your work. So he's doing his work. He's a warrior. He's about to release the weapon. But he's thinking about Krishna all along and is doing it. So he touched water, right? He touched water for purifying himself. And then, of course, but exactly what he's doing, he's actually going to release the Brahmastra. So this is very different from the Arjuna that we meet in the mornings these days when we are doing the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna is saying, I will not fight. And then he gives him hundreds of reasons why he should not be doing the fight. But now the mood is very, very different. And this violence is required. And Krishna says that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So whenever there's a decline in a religiosity and an ascendance of irreligiosity, then Krishna comes to paritranaya sadhunam, vinachaya saduskritam. So that's paritranaya sadhunam, to take care of his devotees and to have pastimes with his devotees. He comes, and also vinachaya saduskritam, also to get rid of the bad people. He comes there. And we also have to remember that Krishna there is violence which is involved here. Like Ashwathama has done a violent act. He's released a Brahmastra. And then Arjuna is going to counteract with another violent thing. So we cannot condemn violence like that. So we have to keep in mind is that there is no violence in the spiritual world. And if there is violence here, right, then it must be coming from Krishna, right? Somewhere it has to be there. Whatever Janmadi Asya Yatha is what Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 1st chapter, 1st verse says, that everything which is there, a Janmadi Asya, comes from that, that God, that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if there is some violence or a tendency to do violence, that tendency is actually coming from Krishna. So if people are fighting here, it is because we are parts and parcel of Krishna. And so we have this desire to fight. So Krishna also had the desire to fight. And so he will come here and fight because there is no fighting there in that sense of the word there. So we have to keep this mind that, Arjuna is fighting again because Krishna wants to fight. Krishna wants to enjoy all that kind of stuff. So he will take part in that. But the thing to notice, as I pointed out in the last week also, is that the way in which both of them have approached it, the way Ashwathama approached the whole thing and versus how Arjuna is approaching it, and further also he will, base his actions on, some very judicial decisions he will make over there. Right now, you see all that he's doing is that he's going to touch the water, he's going to take an arrow, and then he's going to pronounce the mantra. So um, this brahmas is going to be created just by mantra and just by matters and not by chemicals, etc., which are so plentifully used like that, right? So he's going to take an arrow, and with mantras convert that into a brahmastra, and it'll be manifest like that. And then he is touching the water for purification. And we touch water, and it is like amazing that before we cook and clean and all that with soaps and all that, but the final purification actually happens through the mantras. And so we say Om Apavitram Pavitro Va Sarvavasta Gatopi Va. So we say that like that. And then talking about purification, this particular verse is saying that Om Apavitram Pavitro Va Sarvavasta Gatopi Va Yasmaret Pundri Kaksha Sabahaya Abhyantar Suchi. So he's saying that the mantra is saying that whether you're clean or whether you're not clean, right? But if you take the name of Pundrikaksh, which is the one with the lotus eyes, which is Lord Sri Krishna, then your internal and external, both of them are going to be purified. And there's a very interesting verse in actually Srimad Bhagavatam that supports this thought to a very high degree. And that comes in the second canto. And if you can open that verse up to on your machines, it is the second canto. The verse number is 4, and the chapter is 4, and the verse is 18. And if you can tell me that you got it, then we'll go further.
Can you say the verse one more time?
Yeah, 2.4.18.
Yes, got it.
Got it? One
Yes,
more?
Mother, we got it.
Okay, good. Kirat, okay. Kirat hunandra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumbha yavana khasadaya yene cha papayat apashrayashraya shudhyanti tasmai prabha vishnave namaha. So here, in this verse, it covers the entire world. All the races almost it's covering, talking about the Kirats, right? So Kirat is a tribe, aboriginal tribe, like Bhil kind of a tribe in India. So those are the Kirats. Then we have Hun. Hun means Germany. So people from Germany and some parts of Russia. So those people from that area are known as Hunas. Then there are Andhras, so people, the non-devotees from that side of India. Then Pulinda, right? So there was a province in India called Pulinda. So that's also there. And then Greek is also known as Pulinda. So Pulins are the Greek. Then we have Abhira. So Abhir is also another, a tribe there from India. So Abhira, Yamana, the Turks, like that. Khash are the Chinese, Mongolians, etc. So these are all of them, almost practically all parts of the world they have listed here. And what they're saying is that all these people, they are meat eaters, they are non-believers, anyone from this area, Shudhvanti Tasme, right? But if they are there, then they get purified by a devotee of the Lord. They are not talking about they being purified by the Lord. They are not saying that Pundikaksh is coming and purifying them. They are saying that even a devotee of the Lord can purify them. So can you give me an example of a devotee of the Lord who purified the Malechas?
No.
Is that a yes or a no? Do you know of any devotee of the Lord who purified others? Especially the very low.
Nityananda Prabhu.
Nityananda Prabhu purified whom?
Jagai Madai.
Uh-huh. Do you know of any other devotee of the Lord who purified the Malechas, the Hunas, the Pulindas, the
Oh,
Jam.
Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Yes, I was expecting that to be the first answer. So this verse says that they get purified by a devotee of the Lord. So what to talk about? So I therefore offer my obeisances to Vishnu, because Vishnu's devotees have got that capability of being able to purify. So here in the Achman, we are actually taking the name of the Lord itself, right? So how much more powerful that is going to be. And so you have to be in a pure state of mind, both inside and outside, to be able to invoke the mantras in the right spirit, and be able to do whatever the mantra is supposed to do for you, and whatever you're aiming to get out of that mantra. So we see Arjuna is in this nice prayerful mode, and he is doing that, right? So let's look at this situation over here, and where Ashwatthama has released this Brahmastra, and he doesn't know how to retract it. So in one of my classes, I was mentioning that, well, we don't have Brahmastras now, right? We know that somehow we lost that knowledge of that technology. Somehow we started falling down more, right? And this is Kali Yuga. We just believe in machines, and for doing things that were done in a very simple manner in the olden times takes a lot of efforts for us to do now. For example, Narad Muni could just fly from one planetary system to another planetary system at the speed of mind. And now here we spend billions and billions of dollars to just send a little satellite outside the orbit, right? Outside the gravitational pull of the Earth, like that. So, so the situation here is bad, and we don't have the weapons, and thank God for that, because there are plenty of Ashwathamas in the world now than they were then. So it's good. We say that the situation in Kali Yuga is good, that knowledge has been taken away from us. And the knowledge has to be given to the right person. And you can see that is the reason that the Brahmanas, and again, I'm not talking about Brahmanas by birth. I'm talking about people who are Brahmanas by nature, right? Who are, in the mode of goodness, and who are, inclined towards the service of the Lord, who like to read, and so on and so forth. So the Brahmanas were the ones who were given the knowledge, right? Because this kind of a knowledge is there in the Vedas. Vedas has got a section which is called Dhanur Veda, where you will teach archery. You learn about archery from there. So if this knowledge is given to not a deserving person, right? And we see right in front of us that there is a person who is not deserving. He's a Brahmana. I'm hearing some sounds, and if you can mute your phones, please. So we see earlier in chapter number 7 also that Arjuna is being addressed as Brahma Bandhu. Not Arjuna, but Ashwatthama is being addressed as Brahma Bandhu, saying that you're just a relative of Brahmana because you're not acting like a Brahmana. So that is the reason that certain sections of the society in those days could not study the Vedas, and there was a reason for that. There was reason for the social order in society. You are a Brahmana, you're supposed to do this. You are a Kshatriya, you're supposed to do this. It's kind of like, God says that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnam Maya Shrishtam, that these 4 Varnas I have created. And Krishna's creation is flawless. If he has created this concept, then there has to be some meaning behind that concept.
All participants are muted.
So then he says that that I have created this. So this is a job that I have given you. If you are a person with the Brahminical tendencies, then you do these things and don't do other person's job, right? If you're a Kshatriya, don't try to behave like a Brahmana. And Bhagavad Gita, he says that it is dangerous actually to do that. And so don't try that. And so he has created this thing, and depending on the mood of the person, the behavior of the person, depending on the consciousness of the person, he's placed into one of these 4 varnas. For example, the Shudras. Right? The Shudras are the craftsmen. They are good, they are good at making things. And but they were servants, right? They were servants of the merchants, right? And the merchants were supposed to do business and also agriculture, and where they would again employ more Shudras to help them. And the Shudras would be paid by them, and not paid by them, but they would be taken care of them. So you want something, you want to get your daughter married, go talk to your master, and he will make the things available that you need to get your daughter married, and so on and so forth. So that's the ideal way for the society to operate. And the reason was that the person who is in Shudra, has a Shudra kind of a consciousness. His mentality is not like that if you give him some money, that he will be able to spend it wisely. So many times you see that you have the maid servants who come to your home, and they are working in your home and then maybe six other homes. And from morning till night, they are going from one home to another home. They're washing, they're cleaning, they're sweeping and mopping, washing your dishes, sometimes even chopping vegetables, sometimes even cooking for you, like that, right? So this one poor lady goes to 12 different houses, is collecting money, and she's sick, but still she comes to work. And usually they'll have two or three kids also tagging behind them, and you take pity on them and you ask her, like, you see the children there, so you assume there's a husband also there, and you ask, like, what does your husband do? Well, he works in that factory. So why didn't you take some fewer houses? Why are you working so hard? Why he doesn't give me the money? Why does he not give you the money? He drinks it all up, spends it in alcohol, and then he beats me. Like that. It's an average story. We hear it so often. The reason that a Shudra person who's working in a factory, so obviously he's using his skills there, some sort of skills there, but he has been given the money, but he doesn't have the right consciousness, doesn't have the responsibility to think that I have got a family, so I need to use that money to bring my family up, to save something for the future, and engage that some part of the money in devotional service of the Lord. He doesn't have that consciousness. His consciousness is to enjoy. And what kind of enjoyment? Enjoyment in the mode of ignorance, the worst kind of enjoyment. Buy some alcohol and then, go fall into a gutter, and the rest of the money, some pickpocket will come and pickpocket from you. So knowing that that person is in that kind of a mentality, it's not a wise thing to give them money, right? The idea was that you will have a good master on top of you who will, take care of you. Now, as the Kali Yuga starts coming, then because the Garbhadan Sanskar is not being followed, no rituals are being followed, people don't listen to the elders and things like that. So all these things are it's a complete hodgepodge. And Prabhupada says that everybody is a Shudra. So if everybody's a Shudra, then who's going to handle the money? So, okay, everybody take care of your own money, like that. So the idea is that, if you give something to a person who's not capable of handling it, then only disaster can come out of it. And so nimittani cha, paschami viparitani, end result will be bad of doing that. Right? So similarly, we have to also think in our lives. And what I mean by that is that we don't have a brahmastra, we don't have arrows, we need a permit to carry weapons and things like that. Most of us don't have weapons at home. And so at least the brahmastra thing is, we are safe, we won't be leashing brahmastra on anybody. But our words, we remember, are also like arrows. And these, just like the brahmastra, and when I was comparing the brahmastra to other weapons in my earlier classes, I was mentioning that, there's nuclear bomb which comes closest to the brahmastra. One might say, well, the shape is different, etc., etc. But the effect is still the same. That also has some nuclear power there. This one also has got some nuclear power. But the major difference is that the brahmastra is very, very targeted, and it can go and damage or, wreak havoc to the person for whom it is aimed. So there's a sankalpa that you do when you are invoking the weapon. And like I'm invoking them, then Ashwatthama said to kill the entire Pandava clan. So whoever was remaining, the brahmas would go and kill them, and that's it. After it has killed, then the master would bring it, revoke it, and bring it back, like that. And so that's the sankalpa is there. So it's very, very targeted. But nowadays the nuclear weapons are like that, like how you drop a weapon, you drop a nuclear bomb on a city, and everybody, whether they're guilty, whether they're innocent, they all will die. And not only that, people, future generations also, they will also suffer from the nuclear, holocaust, and they will also suffer like that. So suffering will continue in many, in many dimensions, like that. So here, with us, we have got a real brahmastra. real Brahmas in the sense that we have a tongue which can use words and which can be very, very targeted. So to that extent, the words that we use can be targeted or they can be loose. For example, if a person is sitting in front of a congregation of 400, 500 people and teaching them the wrong philosophy, teaching them Mayavadi philosophy. So this is like, that is like the modern day nuclear weapon where you drop it and everybody gets affected. The pure innocent people who came into their assembly, as well as the already existing Mayavadis who came just to hear from another Mayavadi like that. So you can have a widespread effect. You can also have a pointed effect with your weapon, and which is that you can just damage the reputation of one person like that. But we have to remember that this weapon that we have is very difficult to retract. Very, very difficult to retract. So in that context, with this weapon of a tongue that we have in our hands, we are almost like Ashwathama, that we know how to release it, but we don't know how to retract it. And so many times you will see some great personalities or famous personalities, not necessarily great, but they will make some statement in the public, and then there'll be a hue and a cry, and then they will come back on television, national television or whatever, and then they will announce that I retract that statement, I made a mistake. But then, you know what, not many people would be there watching that television episode where you are retracting your statement, right? But when you announced it, many would have heard that, right? So it's not 100% retract that you can do. So there are instances of harsh words being used in the scripture. So can you give me some example of harsh words in scriptures? Anybody ever used any harsh words? Okay. So I will start while you continue to think about harsh words, and you have to press star 6 if you're talking. You have to press star 6 to unmute yourself because I had muted because of the noisy environment there. And so when it comes to you, just share that with me, but I'll give you an idea. But one example of harsh words being spoken comes from the Ramayana, and this is when Keikei is talking to Dashratha, right? Whatever words she's speaking to him, when he is begging her not to send Ram to the exile, she accuses him and says that, what kind of a king you are? You gave me a promise and you're not holding on to that promise. So those were some harsh words that were spoken. Then after that, when Bharat returns home, he speaks some very nice harsh words to his mother, Keikei. And then inside the forest, where Lord Ramchandra is there, Lakshman is there, Sita Mata is there, and they're all going from place to place, and they are once in one ashram. And during this forest, vanvas, or stay in the forest, Lakshman had taken the role of protecting and taking care of Ram and Sita. And like some of you mentioned in the previous classes, that Lakshman is also a category of a Gudakesh, that is one who has conquered his sleep. So he would not sleep while Ram and Sita were sleeping. He would keep guard over them. So he did not sleep at all. So he was very, very dedicated to his brother and to his brother's wife. Now, one day, Rama, hears about Sita through his sister Shurpanakha. So all that is, we know all that story, not relevant to this point. But he decides to steal Sita, so he engages Marichi in that, and Marichi comes. So how does Marichi come? He comes disguised as a what? Star 6 to unmute yourself.
All participants are unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay, you were speaking on mute.
Hare Krishna?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so Marichi came as a golden deer.
It came as a golden deer, right? So when Sita Rani sees that beautiful golden deer, she's saying, Lord, this is such a beautiful golden deer, and tells Ram to bring it because she's thinking that when I go back home, I will gift it to my mother-in-law. So she asks for that, Ramchandra to bring it. Now, a golden deer is something that is not a usual thing. It's not that you see golden deers every now and then. So this is a weird kind of a thing. Now, Lakshman is observing that. And Lakshman is saying that, this deer, other animals are kind of shying away from this deer. They are running away. Normal animals, like sometimes a deer is walking and you'll see a bird sitting on top of the deer, and then both are going, from one place to another place like that. So he's saying that even animals that would have not normally be afraid of a deer, they also shying away from this deer. So he's saying there must be something wrong there. And so he expresses that concern. But then, it's such a beautiful, and Sita Mataji is saying, so Ramchandraji goes to get the deer. Now Ramchandraji is following the deer, and the deer is running away and goes deeper into the forest. And as soon as Ramchandra is about to, catch him, the deer, will leap, and much much higher than what a normal deer would leap. And then he would disappear in the foliage, and then he'd come back again, and doing all kinds of tricks. And so when all this trickery is going on, then Ramchandra remembers the words of Lakshman, and he says that, um, maybe what Lakshman said was right. Maybe this is not a deer. Maybe what he said, that maybe this is a demon. That's what it is true. It is a demon. And so he releases his arrow and he shoots the deer. Now, so there is a mystic power by which you can change your shape and form. Like Shurpanakha did, she became a beautiful lady. Like Putana did, she became a beautiful mother, like that. Like Bakasur was a demon, takes the shape of a buck, like that. So when you are doing all that, and we notice in the case of Putana for sure, is that when you have used your mystic powers and changed from your original position into another one, then if you are dying, then you go back to your original position. So as soon as the arrow comes and hits Marichi starts going back into his original shape. But then, as a last resort, what he does is he just shouts, "Hey Lakshman, hey Sita," imitating the voice of Ramchandri, which is again a mystic power. So he does that, and with the idea that when Lakshman, who is keeping guard of Sita, when he hears Ramchandra calling out to him, he will go to the help of Ramchandra. Then Sita will be alone, and then Ramana can come and kidnap her. So that was the idea with which he shouted. So obviously, it was a very loud shout that he shouts, and that sound falls and comes to this kutir where Sita and Lakshman are staying, and both of them hear it. And Sita says, "Oh, Ramchandri is in some kind of a trouble. You go there." And Lakshman says, "I don't think so. I think that deer was still a demon. I think that demon is still doing that kind of a trick. I don't think I should go there. I should just stay here." And Sita gets very angry with that. Very, very angry with that. And that is when the harsh words start coming out of her mouth. Because she has so much love for her husband and she really wants him to be protected, and she just cannot understand. She's all tensed up. She just cannot understand why Lakshman would not go to help his brother who is calling out to him by name. "Hey Lakshman," like that. "Hey Sita," right? So then she gets angry, and in an angry mood she says that, "I know why you don't want to go there. You want your brother to die so that you can marry me and you can enjoy me. But that is not going to happen." So these were harsh words that just came leaping out of her mouth. And this was a classic example of where the tongue wins over the mind, and the brain and the intellect just came out like that. And so Lakshman is like, completely shaken by hearing these hard words. It's like a Brahmastra least with a single point, that idea is to hurt Lakshmana so that he comes to his senses. So Lakshmana then, who had always treated Sita like a mom and never raised his eyes above her feet like that. And so he feels very, very bad. And rather than stand there and listen to more harsh words, he just does the bidding. He goes outside the kutir, he draws a Lakshman Rekha line around the kutir, says some mantras, and mantras again are powerful, so that as long as Sita stays behind that line, then she's safe. If she steps out, then she's not safe. And then he goes over there. And so when we read these things in Ramayana and we see Sita Ma is doing this, okay, if Sita Ma could do this, then, I'm a small fry. Yeah, there's a truth in the fact that we are small fries as compared to Sita, but that doesn't mean that we are supposed to imitate what Sita is doing, right? We have to understand that when these things happen in our lives, right, and actually Sita Maiya's uh, role play over there is telling you that because of that, those statements that she said when she was in a lot of tension, and which Lakshmana took to his heart and left her, led to this whole thing that was happening, right? So it might not happen like that, that always we will be victorious after speaking some harsh words. In Sita's case, it was because she has Ram by her side, and of course, she herself is goddess of fortune, and they are enacting a play, so it's a scripted play. It was designed to end that way, so that's how it ends that way. But not in our lives. If we are not careful about what we are speaking, right, whatever comes to our mind and we just speak it out, it is like a brahmastra. It will go and hit the other people, and it can stay there for a very, very long time. And sometimes people say, you better beat me. You better beat me, but don't say harsh things. So when a person is speaking some words under tension, you know that this person is tensed up, right? For example, our spouse might be ready to go for an operation, and we are there. We are also worried. He's also worried, or she's also worried, like that. And we are trying to serve our spouses or parents or whoever we are serving to the best of our capabilities, but that person is also under stress and they snap at us. So at that time, we should not let it go. We should not let our brahmas out and then shout at them. We should be careful and try to analyze that situation and reason it out, that why is this person behaving in such a way, and trace it back to what is the root cause. And then you realize that, oh, this person, of course, it's a to undergo an operation is a difficult thing, so that is the stress that is coming out. So that's why, as I always mention, that between feeling and then thinking and willing and acting, try to increase the amount of gap that is there in between those places, so that the actions don't come out immediately like that, right? Immediately. And so there is some reasoning that you will put, and maybe you will not do a particular action in that particular case. Now, when it comes to harsh words, like this coming at us, right? So if harsh words are coming at us, now you are here, you're listening to this lecture, at least for 5 minutes after this lecture is over, these words will be resonating in your mind, right? So during those 5 minutes, if somebody snaps at you, you'll say, oh, Shraddha Mataji told me not to snap back, so let me do that, right? So there is something known as preparedness. So when harsh words are spoken to you, then if you are prepared for that, then it becomes easy for you, right? Like in our case, Arjuna doesn't know from where this light is coming. He runs to Krishna and he's saying, I don't know from where this effulgence is coming. What is this light all about? Tell me, what is this light? I don't know. So Arjuna is, not prepared for that. He was not expecting suddenly the mass will be hurled at him, right? So he didn't have a time to prepare for it. But Krishna is there reminding him, hey, you know of a better weapon that will counteract that weapon, like that. So if we are prepared, then it is easy for us to handle these harsh words, right? So if you know that you have a boss, he always speaks harsh words. So when you go for a meeting with him, you know that some more harsh words will be spoken today. So you are well prepared for that, right? Or you have an in-law, and not going to name the in-law, but some in-law who is very harsh at you. And so So you can prepare yourself very well. Like, okay, I'm going to go there to meet my in-laws. I better be on my best behavior and be a sadhu. I know this is going to happen. I know they're going to say that, but I'm not going to react. I'm a devotee, like that. So we can do all that because there is time for us for being prepared. But when the harsh words come from someone that is very dear to you, like our own family members, like our own dear ones, then it was not expected. So it hurts you even more because you were not prepared to even handle that. So if that thing happens, if somebody ever speaks, somebody very intimate to you speaks something harsh to you, don't take it to heart. Don't take words and note it down if you're taking notes. Don't take words which are spoken in anger. Don't take those words to your heart. Don't take those words seriously, because the other person was tensed up, the other person was angry, they might not have even meant it, the words just came tumbling out of their mouth, and so on and so forth, like that, right? So this is a thing that we can carry away from this situation that Arjuna is in today. Of there's a brahmastra coming at him, and he's going to counteract with his own brahmastra, right? So again, when it comes to counteracting with your own brahmas, if somebody is leashing a verbal brahmas at you, be careful of your consciousness with which you are returning it back with your more powerful weapon. And so you see now here how Arjuna is treating that retaliation as almost a prayer and a worship of Krishna. That he's doing achaman, he's doing circumambulation and things like that. So similarly, if you have to scold a child, right, your consciousness should be not that he misbehaved and I have to misbehave, or if not misbehave, I have to now control and scold and do this thing. Yes, as a parent, you will take them to task, but your consciousness inside should be very different. Your consciousness inside should be saying that it is my duty I'm the parent, and it's my duty to tell the child what is right and what is wrong, and he has done something wrong, so I'm going to tell him that it is wrong. So not with an attitude of revenge like that, because kids are small, they listen, they are intimidated, and but they grow up and they become adults and almost become our equals. And in these days of technology, they might be technically more advanced than us and could get into a controlling position. But that doesn't mean that we as parents have to stop telling them what is right and what is wrong. It is our duty to tell them the differences, the consciousness with which you say those harsh words. And we come across that situation of, again, a brahmastra that was leased very pointedly, very, very pointedly by Vidura onto Dhritarashtra. So after the Mahabharata is over, and after the Pandavas collectively with them and with their alliances have killed the entire Kuru family and all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, and they started ruling the world, and they started living in a palace. In that same palace, Dhritarashtra continued to live with the Pandavas who had killed his sons, and doing nothing but just enjoying the royal life there with his wife. And of course the wife, Gandhari, was very devoted, so wherever the husband is, the wife will go. So then Vidura comes back. When he comes back after this war, etc. is over, Vidura was not involved in the war. After he comes back, he comes and says some very harsh words to Dhritarashtra, and he is Dhritarashtra's relative, he is his half-brother. He says some very harsh words. So sometimes harsh words will be spoken by exalted personalities in a way to kind of, literally shake somebody out of their inactive situation, inactive state. So he tells them that you are like a dog. That's what he tells him. You are like a dog. You are like a Pandava's dog, and you're eating whatever they decide to throw your way. And this Brahma goes and hits Dhritarashtra, and he leaves home. He leaves home the very next day. He leaves the palace, followed by his wife. He goes into the forest and he starts to meditate, like that. So he does that. So, but these kind of Brahmas, like I said, they should best be handled by people who know how to handle them. Like Arjuna knew how to handle a counter Brahmas, so he was doing it. from our own side, we should avoid brahmas at all, completely, try not to do them. And if at all you have to do it because of your role and because of your position, then we should be very, very careful about how exactly are we handling all these things there. Okay? So I will stop here and open up for reflections and comments and questions.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Papa.
Yeah, Mataji, it was very nice class, but I'm leaving, so sorry that I have to drop off the call.
No problem. I'm always happy to have you for whatever little time that you can.
Okay, thank you, Mataji, for such a nice thing. But the last thing what you have told, you have to be very careful, means how to handle these things, means if you are in anger and throwing some words. So this thing, Mataji, if you tell a little bit, then that will be good, means that will help us.
Like tell you what to do?
Yes, Mataji. Or someone is using very harsh word repeatedly, means not every day, but the same type of condition. Like once he has used that, and again after few days, again they are using. So how to handle that situation?
My immediate reaction will be become a child. What happens to children if their mother tells them the same thing over and over again and again? What do? They stop listening. Right?
Yeah.
So when you're noticing this pattern, that this person is doing it, so now you have got the chance that you are in a much better situation, because now you know the pattern. Every third day it is going to come, and you are prepared. It's not suddenly out of the blue. It's not as if somebody out of the blue picks up the phone and starts lashing it out at you. You know that this person every now and then does it. So one is that you have plenty of time to prepare for it. Do not give credit to that person's words by reacting to it. There is no better retaliation than complete silence. Just, take it from one ear, let it go like that. Right? And then this is also about, I remember when I was going to the hospital to give birth to my daughter, the doctor had told me that, or earlier, the doctor had told me that, well, you're going to have, your birth is going to be a very painful thing, and the pains will come. And what I want you to do is not focus on the pain, because in the beginning they won't be very long-lasting. You'll have pain, and then for half an hour there'll be no pain. So whenever the pain comes, instead of crying out and saying, I'm in pain, you focus your attention on the fact that I'm going to have, now this pain has come, I'm going to have half an hour of no pain. So focus on the half an hour of no pain, so that whenever a pain comes, this will go away. I'll have another half an hour of peace, like that. Right? And it is during this hour of peace when your mind is settled, because it's the hour of peace, or half an hour of peace, so 6 hours of peace in the household, or wherever you are. And the other person is also at peace, supposedly, because he or she is not saying anything to you. This is also a good time for you to sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk with that, right? But in the beginning, you will have to set your example by saying, why somebody's words are hurting. Now, if you tolerate that for some time and then go and start to negotiate and have a conversation, you are in a much better position. If somebody shouted at you and then you shouted back, and then the next day you want to go and sit and tell that person that how much bad you felt because they shouted at you, you're going to get a very standard answer that, I also felt bad because you also shouted at me, like that, right? So you have to first show better behavior to enter into any kind of negotiations then. With the extreme that some people never change at all. And then what we have to do is to become thick-skinned. We have to become thick-skinned so that, okay, analyze it and you know what is happening, and you can't touch my soul, that's fine. This will be over. This will also be over. This also passes. Everything passes. Even the people who are shouting at you cannot shout, 24/7. They will be tired. They will stop, like that. So just ignore it and say, okay, fine, I'm here, must have done some karmas in the previous life to be undergoing this. Krishna, give me the strength to do that. I have to be on good behavior, and I will continue sustain good behavior so that I can get into a position of negotiating and talking with this person. If there are people, so if this person is someone who's living with you, then this is what it is. If there are people who are on the phone and they are saying hurtful things to them, you have the complete choice of not picking the phone at all. The choice is there for you always.
Mataji, thank you so much, Mataji. So Mataji, I'm dropping off.
Okay.
Sorry. Mataji, this question is, can you hear me? I mean, I did the unmute. Can you hear me, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
I can hear you.
This question and this point that the Mataji just left and discussed or asked is like it's a universal in today's world. So I think what you just explained out of that, I'm just thinking that remembering that this is coming back to me because of the karma. I mean, not blaming ourselves, but kind of thinking that it is because of the karma. So we have to just pray to Krishna to help us out. And I think Vaisheshika Prabhu said once in one of the lectures that I remember, he said, never answer argument with an argument. Yes. And that makes a lot of sense. And but what happens is just like we study, we meditate upon it, but when the time comes, real time comes and a person is in front of you, maybe you won't scream, you won't speak bad words. I mean, bad words is not what we get. Maybe we don't get bad words, but we get this anger and resistment and all that we get from other people in the family, like she said, some immediate family members. It is, and even though we understand their circumstances, their situations, but at the same time, we do have our situations and circumstances too, and it is simply very difficult to deal with that. So I think it's the best is to pray Krishna and just remember this is, I mean, it's difficult. It's not easy at all to deal with. We don't personally speak anything, but still we have to still hear things. Is like you said, Brahma Shastra. Like a Shastra, it comes at you, and then you have to put your shield against it, and that shield is only name of Krishna.
Yes, very, very nicely put. Yeah, Brahmastra. Brahmastra is an astra. Yeah.
Brahmastra.
Yeah. But I like the shield. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the sooner the soul realizes that that I'm helpless. Sooner they will call out to Krishna. The sooner we come
just
to this
call out to Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, look at Arjuna. He's such a valiant fighter, and he sees some light and he's running to Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Mahabaho. Right? So he's addressing him that you are the mighty one. You please tell me from where is this light coming? I don't know. It becomes so when you become a devotee, it becomes a very natural thing for you to do. So these are some of the natural traits of a devotee that Arjuna is depicting in this so-called very ghastly situation. That a Brahmas is coming at you and he's not thinking of his own faculties of counteracting it, but he's turning to Krishna. And even when he goes to Krishna, he's not like a order thing, not placing an order in him. He's first praying to him, glorifying him, putting him subordinate, and then first putting Krishna, glorifying him, and then he says, please tell me, what this is. And about the fact that when somebody agitates you, it will happen, that you will react, yes, but then you also see that there are others in the world who do not react, right, as we do. So it is a matter of practice. As Arjuna says in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. So it's the mind, right, which is planting these ideas to be done. And like I said, the words that you lose the battle, the intellect, the intelligence loses the battle with the tongue, and the words come out like that. But Krishna is saying that you have to be very careful. You have to be careful. You have to do practice, and you have to do renunciation. So if we are renounced, here's also a very nice thing. It's a very nice thing to keep in mind that if you are there, if you get resigned to the fact that I'm not going to get any respect from this person, and I'm not even expecting any respect from this person, it makes it so much more easy for you to handle whatever that person throws at you, because you were never expecting any flower garland from them. You were expecting abuses, and they came, and you were like, all right, I was geared up for that. So as long as, your life is not in danger and it's not completely affecting you, if you can handle it sastvically, then don't take any extreme steps, right? Like that. I mean, I'm not saying that somebody is becoming so violent at us and, taking a pressure cooker and banging it on my head, then I should just say, oh, this is my karma. No. We have to retaliate. There's 911 to dial and all the police, like that. So one should do all those things as well. But I'm just talking about the day-to-day minor things which happen, but even though they are minor, they do affect us for a very long time, right? Something very simple.
Hare Krishna. Sometimes in life we have to come up with a solution, and that solution can sometimes only come through negotiation with the other party. And that is sometimes just impossible to negotiate with them, and you just can't come up with any solution at the end. Then you just have to leave it to Krishna also. Just let it be, right?
Yes, and that is what the whole Mahabharata is about. I mean, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnu is his incarnation. Oh, how difficult it is for him to just, raise one eyebrow and the entire Kaurav family will die. Right? It is not difficult for him. But Krishna goes as a messenger of the Pandavas to negotiate with Duryodhana. So he's telling us all that first try to negotiate. But in the end, if they're not listening, then you have to do what has to be done. But you have to walk the walk. You have to walk it. Go through the steps which are there. Go to the procedure. And of course, don't walk the walk alone. Ask, have a mentor, have a guide, have somebody who's going to, knowledgeable, who's handle these kind of situations with others. And they will guide you, because it differs from a case-to-case basis also, like that.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranam.
This is Dandava Pranam. I just, I'm so confused, I try to do Zoom and other things, and our time lost a little bit. But
I know,
I missed the class.
Yes, I knew that you would join the Zoom today, because you said in the morning that you were on the Facebook to join Zoom. But my network at my home, network in my home has gone down. And because of that, I couldn't start Zoom. I could not even send WhatsApp messages to anybody. And I was trying to record it on my laptop. My laptop is also died right now. And so, but I was able to do this phone call. So that's when,
at least, I couldn't do on Zoom and the things. So I tried just like that phone call. So I got it. But I don't know whether I'm on live. This thing are recorded when I was
very much
confused.
Live. No.
Thank you very much, Mataji. When are the time? What are the timings? Can you send me the mail, Mataji, again, your classes?
Yeah, actually, your daughter contacted me today morning, and I sent her the link to there's a website where I keep all this information handy. So all that you have to remember is the website, yes. And the Zoom information I don't put on the website, because it's got passwords and things like that. So Zoom information also I told to your daughter. But I will send them to you also, and I'll send it to you in WhatsApp, but I don't know when, because I don't know when this network is going to be back up.
Yeah, it's okay. Today morning the class was very good, that I think, I don't know. Today morning class only. Everybody was reading. So I was so feeling so happy to listen to all that. I wanted to participate. I said, where am I? I don't know what I'm doing, whether it is, but because at the end I came, that's why. Again, I don't want to come into the line.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So tomorrow we won't have a call, because tomorrow Vaisheshika Prabhu is going to do the japa, right? Japa and the Bhagavatam class, right? So tomorrow we won't have the class, but Sunday Sunday at 9:30 in the morning for you. We'll have a class. And then tomorrow tomorrow Saturday in your evening. Preeti, can you remind me what time is our Bhakti Vrix? Because you changed the time. Is it 6 o'clock? It's 6 o'clock. Right?
It is 6.
Yeah.
It's 6.
It'll be 9. Yeah, it'll be 9 in the night for you in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Right? So
see, some of the classes, Vaishishka Prabhu classes, some of them are very late in the night. They're coming. Because I'm 3 hours away from here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm missing a lot, Motherji.
Yes.
But these classes I would like to, and I would like to participate also when they are reading, and I was so happy that I would have read too. That's what, but I don't want to come in between the lines.
Yeah, no. Sunday you can come. Sunday you can come, and if you join the Zoom even in between the lines, we have a Prabhuji, Shriyash Prabhu, who keeps track of whoever has joined new, and he adds them to the reading queue. So our reading, queue keeps on growing. Yeah, you start with 3 who have joined precisely at that time, and then it keeps on growing as more and more people join. So the idea is to give everybody a chance to read.
Sunday you said 9:30 a.m. Is that right?
Sunday, yes, 9:30 a.m. and it's a short class, of about 40 minutes.
That's my time, 9:30 a.m.
Your time.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, 9:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Thank you, Motherji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
You're welcome.
Now, that's what I was listening to your discussion also. When a person is angry, so best thing is usually they used to say count 10, and then the reason of the anger also it comes, and then sometimes in angry, when we are angry, we don't know what we're talking, and then afterwards we realize, I did a mistake. So that is also there. If we wait some time and then we can, I think I was listening to that.
Very good point. Yeah. Very, very, very good point.
See, if we wait few minutes, then that anger, we ourselves will feel that, I did a mistake and I am just too fast for that, reacted.
Yeah. The surge goes away.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Like you say that an angry man is actually angry twice. He's first angry at the other person, and then he's angry at himself later on. Like, why did I do it? Yeah. Preeti?
Yeah, so I had a quick question that, we mentioned such good points. Like I was going crazy taking notes. But I was thinking that, practice is a huge thing. That when we practice, Krishna says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena, vairagena chabhyata. Yeah, right? So anyway, with practice and renunciation, we can get there. But it is so hard because our nature is a particular way, because for eons and many births, our nature is a particular way. So even if we are practicing tolerance, like, oh no, I'm practicing Titikshava right now. I am not going to respond. I am not going to retaliate. But it takes so much energy out of you. So can you elaborate a little bit on that practice? Like, do you tell yourself every time that, no, I'm going to practice, I'm practicing? How do you get to that practice?
Yes. And I'm not there, by the way. It is a constant practice. It's constant practice, and we will fail. We will have our fall down. And it is so amazing that you will have a fall down at the time when you see the other person saying something or doing something or writing something to you, and you are like, I'm not going to react, and even before you knew, the reaction has come out of your mouth. It happens, and it's a fall down. And as Vashika said that, in a very famous lecture he gave on anatomy of a fall down, the main point there was that we will fall down. We are in the material world. We are not achyuta. We are achyuta. We fall down. And so the idea is that, if you're riding on a horse and if you fall down, then it's not about, that you fell down. It's about how long are you going to stay on the ground before you get back up. So if you fell down and you again got back on the horse, big deal. You're still riding the horse. So in our devotional service and in these kind of practices, once in a while these things will happen. So don't let those little failures bog you down. Because again, now you are anticipating, you have been forewarned and forearmed. Forewarned is forearmed, right? So we have told you that when you are practicing this, practice means what? Like your son plays football, is that the right term? Or soccer? I'm always confused.
Yes, football, yeah.
Yeah, so when he hits, right, not every kick makes it to the goal, right? And so sometimes there'll be missed kicks, there'll be wrong kicks, but that doesn't mean that he stops playing, right? He goes back again. He practices, and you have seen it in him, right? That he practiced, and from a certain level of player, he has gone to a different level, right? Same thing happens with this also. Same thing with that, and every time, and all this energy that you are spending, yes, at that time, it's the energy that you are spending against fighting this thing. It's almost like, when a person has got infection and he gets fever, then we are so worried, like, oh, this person has got infection, he's got fever. So fever is like the bad thing that has happened, right? I mean, if at all, if at least he could have had the infection but with no fever. But fever is actually an indication that your body is fighting with the infection, like that, right? So similarly, if you're seeing that a lot of energy, you are expending a lot of energy in controlling this, imagine that if you had not used that energy in controlling this emotion, what is the next thing that you would have done with so much of energy in your head? You would have retaliated, right?
Yeah. Ma, can you repeat that the energy we are spending in fighting or tolerating is well spent? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's well spent, and that is going to put marks in your mind. It's going to have those rifties in your mind, and I have Precious Kapoor was talking about that in Wednesday, that you should have eliminating. I don't remember the exact word, but it's like, if you put a lot of good into something which is bad, then the bad will dissolve and go away. So by constantly doing this,
dissolving a solution.
Yeah, the solution he gives. They're very interesting, because I had talked about this in one of my classes. Now I've forgotten which one, but the thing was that it was about going to a mentor and doubts. Yeah, I think I was talking about it in this Tuesday's class. I was talking about doubts. So when you have doubts, like, here's a situation, I don't know how to handle this, and you go to a person, and the person will give you an answer. And if you don't get an answer which is to your taste, then maybe you're asking the wrong person for a solution. And I'll give you an example in this situation itself, right? And I had asked that question in the class of my spiritual master, and I'd asked him that, why is it that sometimes a negative thought will come in your mind about somebody, and you never wanted that negative thought to come into your mind in the first place at all. You had a very good relationship with this person and something very nice, and then suddenly this negative thought comes, and then the intelligence comes to the fore and is saying, no, that is not good, that's not good, and you push the thought away, and then 2 hours later it comes back with renewed vigor and double the force, like that. So why is it like that? I asked him, and and of course, what is the cure for doing that? And he said that this is because of samskaras, because we have done it for so many lifetimes. So many lifetimes we have done it, so that's the only way we react, right? Yeah, and so somewhere, you had a nice relationship with this person, and then some situation arises which you had not anticipated. So quickly your mind will go, and your intelligence will also confer, because it's checking the database where all these things are recorded, and it says, yeah, like 60 million lifetimes ago, this situation has come and this is how you reacted. So let's do it here again, like that. So this is and he said, how does it go away? The answer for that is chanting. Now, if you are satisfied with that answer, if you believe in the holy names, if you believe in the power of the holy name, that's the fantastic answer, right? Some people might not be satisfied with that answer. They might just say that, no, give me the steps. So then you will do what Vijaya Mataji is telling you, right? Count till 10 before you answer, right? Now, the power to be able to count till 10 before you answer. Right? So this is a practice that you will do. So there's one thing that's like, this anger management and all that is also handled by other atheist organizations also. Will come and give you lectures on anger management. Nobody tells you to chant. Nobody tells you to take to Krishna. But they will definitely tell you to count, right? So that's one way of handling it, that, I will count, which is again a practice, because you won't even be able to count till 10, but the words will come out. You will fail 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then one day you will count till 9. And you'll be very happy that at least 1 left, and then 8, and then 7, and then 6, and then 5, right? So that one way is to do it all alone. By yourself, you have been given a procedure, you have been given the steps. So first step, flight. If you can't handle it, leave the place. Leave the place, go to another room, open the bathroom, go inside the bathroom.
keep yourself locked up in the bathroom. Let the other person's anger disappear, then you come out, right? You can't do that. You have to stay there. Then Vijaya said, count. You count, right? So you can follow. So some people like that process, right? But what is really good is if you augment this process. So, one thing is to fight. One thing is to fight a disease. And another thing is to take a vaccine beforehand. And chanting is the vaccine. Because what chanting is doing is, it is mending, and this is a very famous lecture by Vaishnavi Prabhu, mending the algorithms in your mind. The algorithms that are so messed up from so many years. These algorithms get mended by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So the holy names of the Lord are going to purify. They are going to remove all those wrong algorithms which are in the mind, so that when the next time somebody shouts at you and you start counting, you will be able to count till 10, like that, So you are augmenting that. You are taking your vitamins before the medicine.
Excuse me, Mata. I got something I felt. You know what, this coronavirus, they are saying that nobody can do anything outside. So we have to fight ourselves for our immunity. Is that right? So same way, his anger is like that too. We have to fight ourselves to control or away from that place for a while, some other reason, and just get out of the place. We have to fight ourselves only. There's nothing we can. Like I remember the corona disease. They're saying fight yourself for immunity. That's what they're saying now. No medicine, nothing. Nobody will help you.
So, nobody will help you, right?
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing.
Yes.
But when you have to come to a solution of or you have to do an analysis with the other person and come back to a solution, one cannot just walk away. Okay, bye bye. Okay, we'll leave them.
That's not easy.
One day we have to come to a solution of the questions of the family that one may have, and we cannot always walk away and say, okay, fine. It's not about, maybe people are not even angry with each other per se. Say they are not even angry, but they can, sorry?
If you have little time, then that solves little bit in a thinking time. So anybody, other person or ourselves, we do have different answers for that. So the time is the one. In anger time, we don't know what we're talking, what we are doing. That is anybody. The anger is the thing.
No, even people are, let's say, they are not verbalizing the anger. Let's put it this way. They are not verbalizing the anger or words or anything, but people can't come to a solution to an issue within a family. Even though they don't get angry, they don't speak bad or nothing, but they can't come to end, some kind of at the end you have to be on one page to move forward in life. And this is, that's kind of, that's where, I think, Mataji, that, Shraddha Mataji, that chapter of karma in Gita, that kind of the seeds, when they materialize and all that, maybe that needs to be, I guess I need to study that on a daily basis to get it clearly more and more deeper.
Yeah. So in a nutshell on that is that devotional service removes the tendency to do the bad things. And that's the biggest power of devotional service. That not only does it do the cure, but it also removes that. It also immunizes you from doing it again. That's the thing about devotional service. Other things are just medicines to treat the symptoms. But this goes to the root cause. It goes and says, okay, so why am I suffering? Why am I suffering? Why are people behaving badly with me? Like that. And then when you sit down to analyze, our sufferings are because of our sins, sinful activities that we perform. We suffer. Sinful activities that we perform either in this life or in any life that we don't know of, any lifetime that we don't know of and don't remember, like that. So they are all coming from those sins that you have committed. They are coming there. And so the good news or bad news, whichever way you want to take it, is that a particular lifetime is going to take care of only a few of your pious and impious activities. The rest are still there for you to, because of which you will take many more births. And devotional service is one thing that clears your record. Not only does it clear your record, it also brings it to a consciousness from where you will not commit them again. So that is the beauty of devotional service. So that's why for all these anger management and faithfulness and all those kinds of situations that we face in life, you have to bring in the element of Krishna to get a proper solution. Like I was talking about last Saturday, that problems, the solutions to a problem come from a consciousness which is higher than the consciousness that created the problem. You cannot be at one conscious level and then create a problem and then expect that you will be in that same state and you'll find a solution. For example, if a man has drunk way beyond the limit and he's fallen into a gutter and he's lost his car keys there in the gutter, until he sobers up, he can't find the keys. Because as long as he's intoxicating and he's trying to find the keys in the gutter, he'll be finding many keys there. The keys will be laughing, the keys will be moving, the keys will be dancing, they'll do all kinds of things, right? He has to sober down. Then only he'll get it. So his consciousness has to change to solve the problem that he created in the first place. Like that. So our thought should always be to raise our consciousness up to a higher level. And another thing, Preeti, to answer your question about, how often do you do it? Do it all the time. And when bad thoughts come, if you're praying to Krishna, Krishna really helps you. And you can constantly say to yourself that, you know what, this thought, it doesn't become me. I'm not supposed to be thinking these thoughts. Go away. I'm just going to open up my Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to read a shloka, 30 seconds, and then done. I'll go back to whatever I was doing. The thought, I'm not even entertaining you. And again and again you have to. But over a period of time, it will happen. And the change actually happens from the first time that you do it, but it is imperceptible. And what a wonderful example of imperceptible changes is that if you sit in front of a clock, right, which has only got an hour hand and a minute hand, doesn't have a second hand on it. So there's an hour hand and a minute hand, and you can sit in front of the clock and stare it for how hard if you want to stare at it. You cannot see that it is moving. You cannot see the time is moving because the change is imperceptible. But does the hand move? Yes, it does. After an hour of time has elapsed, that the hand will move from full 360. It would have moved, right? From 12, it would have come back to 12, like that. The same thing happens with our devotional service also. All of you who are now here, as Vashishika Prabhu uses the term Chaturya Masya, so we are doing the Chaturya Masya. So many classes, so many new devotional practices and all that. Even if you think that despite of all that, you're still getting angry, still getting this and that, but after some time, when you're back at your desk, it will be a different person who will be sitting there. Trust me. Devotional service is like that. Jesus, Virat Hunandra Pulanda Pulkasha, Abhira Shumba Yamana Kasadaya, Yenecha Papa Ashraya Shraya, Shubhiyanti Tasme, Prabhavishvane, Vaishnave Namaha. So even the devotees of the Lord are able to purify. What to talk of Lord? We are in direct touch with Him through the scriptures every day, like that.
Mataji, so Sunday, what very is helpful.
One at a time.
You go ahead, Mataji.
Oh, I was just saying, I was making notes. Every point was so helpful. Definitely gives you the next step. Thank you.
Mataji, Sunday class, what is it? Is it Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita?
Bhagavad Gita, like the morning today. Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavatam we do only once, and that is today.
And what chapter we are in?
Chapter 1.
Okay.
Chapter 1, thanks, and we are doing 37, 38, I think. 37, 38 or 39, one of the two verses.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, this is the one that started. Yadyapyatena Pashanti Lobo Pahatita. The one on the spot. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Sunday. Tomorrow, nothing. Tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock, Bhakti Vriksh. 6 o'clock my time. Hopefully on Zoom.
Thank you so much, Shraddha Mataji. I really enjoyed it, as always.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Sonal Mataji. I can't see the dashboard, so I thought you might have left because it's way beyond our time.
No, I've been on this whole time.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, yeah.
Hare Krishna to everybody. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Vijay Mataji. Thank you for joining us and sharing your wonderful thoughts and ideas. Very nice, yeah. Okay, any last thoughts?
I just wanted to say that in the beginning, Sonal Mataji, Suttapa Mataji, and other people were there, and somebody said that, oh, your internet is not working. So we said that, what are we going to do now?
Yeah, that's true, and you came on.
You can always chant. Well, I came because of your mercy.
You came because
I think we all had to learn this lesson today. So thank you for for the gyan that you gave us, because I think I personally definitely needed this lesson.
All of us need it. Me too. Like that. Yeah, as long as Krishna sees us making an endeavor, he will help us. A genuine endeavor, a genuine reason to improve, so that we can do our devotional service better. Once we become better human beings, then he will definitely help you. Trust me, he will help you.
Yeah, I think that the more I chant, I realize that he presents all the right information at the right time, because he knows what medicine you need at what time, right? So I feel like he takes care. It's like he has your plan. You've given he's taken over your plan. So he's decided your education plan, and he's teaching you the right lesson at the right time.
Yes. Yeah. Very true.
And I really like the examples that you gave of, speaking inappropriately, or speaking, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, especially examples of Sita or Mahabharata. It makes us feel that, we are not alone. We are imperfect, and it's okay to make these mistakes, but also we're also able to visualize the after effects of these mistakes, because we know the whole story of Mahabharata. We know that when Draupadi did this is what happened, right? So we are able to also see the consequences of that.
Yes, and the funny thing is that I read the entire Mahabharata when I was a young kid, because it used to come in one of the magazines that my parents subscribed for, kids magazine. So it was an abridged form of Mahabharata. The magazine was called Chanda Mama, I think. And so these kind of things, would run for years altogether, because it was a monthly magazine and they would be putting one episode every month. So 4 or 5 years, the Mahabharata would go on like that. And that's why I read it from there. And so far, without even realizing that I'm supposed to take some lessons from Mahabharata. It was all like, oh, look, Hindu did this, and he did that wrong, and he's that wrong, and he shouldn't have done this, and he shouldn't have done that, and wow, Arjun is great and cute and like that, I never thought that, oh, this is me? Are you talking about me?
Yeah. And also to see that Sita, who is supposed to be perfect, also made a mistake, or said something which was not in her character. That's also good to know, because, it makes you realize that, because we're now able to see the consequences of that, right? As soon as she told Lakshman that, Lakshman went out in the forest and then she got kidnapped. So
yes. Yeah. That's one lesson to learn, from what not to do. And the second lesson to be learned from what to do is that when somebody is doing something which is so uncharacteristic of them, right, give them the benefit of doubt. They must be going through something. They're already going through something, and because of this, they're putting this extreme behavior. And some people are like that. When they're stressed out, they will be so bad. They will fight with the whole world. They'll say bad things about you. And then when things are going well with them, they are the sweetest person in the world for you, like that.
Right.
So the moment you understand and realize that, it's about them, it's not about you. It's about them, and they are the ones who are going through this. So instead of being angry at them on our side, when they are angry and they are obnoxious, we will feel compassion for them that, oh, this person is now going through this again.
Right.
He or she is going through her bouts again. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I also like the point that you made about, knowing what, like, two distinctions that you made. One is when you hear something bad from someone who's, not close to you, not your immediate relative. How do you react to that versus how do you react to someone who's very close to you? Because when someone very close to you says something bad, it hurts you because, you're not expecting it. So how do you react to that? You forgive them because, you don't take it to heart because they are your own. Versus if it's someone else, then, you have a different tactic.
Exactly. And this is exactly what Arjuna is going through in the mornings these days. He says, Swajanam hi katham hatva. Although he knows that these people whom he's calling as Swajana, my own kinsmen, they are the ones who did things to them repeatedly, bad things. But because they are his own, he's willing to forgive. Over and over, over and over, again and again. And which is always a safe way to proceed. It's a safe way to proceed that you forgive them. And then again they do it, forgive them. And that's why it comes back to having mentors, spiritual masters, guides, counselors, etc. in your life who will help you when you are situated. Because not everybody will have, or not all of us have got Krishna as our chariot driver, do we? That we can turn to and say, oh, tell me, Madhusudana. We don't have Madhusudana.
Yes, not everyone is that fortunate.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing so many thoughts and feelings here. So should we call it a day? It's 5:45. Or you have still something to say or share?
No, I think we're good. Thank you. Thank you again for the very nice lesson.
Good. You're welcome. And so we will meet as a team that meets regularly. We'll meet again at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Hopefully by that time my internet will be back up and we'll be back on Zoom. Otherwise, tomorrow's classes happen on Zoom or on Facebook. If things get really bad and network is down, then I might start this phone call also. But we'll just see. Okay?
Okay.
So from now until tomorrow.
Okay, Mataji.
And then don't forget to attend the Japa Circle class tomorrow at 7 a.m. on ISKCON Silicon Valley's website. Rajshri Prabhu will be there. Okay?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.